absolutely won't teach you to do any job. The point of a BA is to teach you to do every job. It's a really important difference. Prepares you for all jobs, better thinker, better officer in this circumstance, and in my view, better citizen. Next. And this is how. Regardless of the courses you choose, my program learning outcomes, the outcomes of the BA, critical and analytical thinking, ability to find real information, to distill it into argument, to understand and communicate it back. That's a skill for life, not just university. I'm going to do that. Why people act the way they do, and to work on your communication skills as well. It's the basis for intelligence leadership. But also, I'll put the point up there quite deliberately, we want to talk about truth in the age of post-truth. You can't know the truth of the world and yourselves and things around you unless you can think critically, use evidence, form your own opinions. That's why you should do a BA. Relevance is quite straightforward. There is too much misunderstanding and misnomer in this space and outside of it, including, in my view, in the recruiting agencies, that the degree you choose is really important because of the job you want to do. It's not true. Though he's undercover, the current Chief of Air Force is walking around at the moment and he's a BA graduate. Defence wants you to do well at university. There are some services which will suggest degree streams to you. They're not mandatory. Only half of GSL officers come here. Others don't have degrees, or they have degrees in architecture. It doesn't matter. The point here is do what you want to do it well. If you're in a green skin, what you do for a living after you come here isn't decided until you're out of here at Duntroon. Don't fall for that trap that I want to do job X, I have to do degree Y. Do what brings you joy, because you'll be good at it. They want you to be good at it. All right, now's the time where I get to spruik the university a little bit, and I will. This is a university, and the only one in Australia that works at a nexus between military academies and the university in general. We've been doing this for more than 50 years, closer to 60 years actually. Though our undergraduate body is a uniform training officer body.
Sorry, could we get you to mic up for the recordings? Yeah. Sorry.
Excuse me, Ross.
Sorry, one.
Have we got any insight as to how to turn it on?
Maybe it's just a little bit.
I think now we're online. Where was I? Though our undergraduate body is a uniform body, as you know, that's not all the faculty does. This is a faculty of the University of New South Wales. It does what all academic faculties do. I think we teach almost twice as many postgraduate students than we do undergraduate students. And those master's levels or graduate diploma level students are all done online here. So there is more to it than the undergraduate body, though I understand we are all focused today about talking about the undergraduate bodies. We do research students, we do a whole lot of stuff. And I can tell you now, if you look at that little dot in the green, I'm very sorry for the ANU alumni, but this university is now the leading university in Canberra in terms of university rankings. So it is in the world top 20. We are a G8 university. Those standards, those resources are commensurate with that. As I say, faculty of the University of New South Wales in Canberra. There are other 6 faculties in Sydney. Teacher-student ratio is important. Again, I'm not sure how much knowledge you guys have or familiarity with the sector more widely. We tutorial with 1 to 12 students. 1 teacher to 12 students, 1 to 13. There is no other teaching ratio like that in the country. That's important. If you want to succeed here academically, you will.
I think you've got to try pretty hard to fail. The support systems are there. That doesn't mean we don't ask a lot of you or won't, but the support system's there. And let's also remember there are advantages to studying as an undergraduate here. Yep, there's disadvantages. You're up at 6 o'clock too, but you're paid pretty well. You walk 100 metres to the food that's cooked for you without washing up. You don't have any carers' responsibilities. You're not working a part-time job. This is the job. Your academics. Yep. Now a bit more about the school. Some of this I've touched on already, guys. Please have a little read. Language, politics, history, business, how people interact with others, why they do the things they do. That's what we're about. An understanding of the world around you. Of importance to your career within the ADF, all of which, regardless of what you do as a junior officer, will involve managing people, leading people, making decisions. It's about your mind. If you want to be the person that runs the fastest, shoots the straightest, carries the most load, marches the longest distance, okay, might not be an officer stream for you. You still do all those things as an officer, but you are paid here and elsewhere for your head, not your biceps. We unforgivingly ask questions within our courses to which there are no easy answers. When you get assignments, when you get essays to write, I don't care what your opinion is. I care that you have one, that you know stuff, that you can mount an argument and convince me. If I gave you questions that were yes or no, we couldn't achieve those learning outcomes. Find, evaluate evidence. Require unashamedly for students to be able to express themselves in a verbal form and in written form as well. That's a life skill. It's also a skill of a leader within the ADF. To equip us all for a complex and increasingly complex world. Thank you. Okay, now with a bit more of the techie bit, as I say, take it all with a grain of salt. Don't worry too much about this if you're a potential student. We have 3 major programs within the school. In your first year, you take all 3, and that is History, Indo-Pacific Studies, International and Political Studies are the 3 that you will do. Then you get to choose between business and geography for your 4th subject. But they're in the science and business school, so I don't control those. In history, these are the sorts of things that we're going to talk about. You'll start to notice as opposed to a more typical BA at Kensington, around half of our offerings tend to have a military flavour, half deliberately don't. You can choose your own path through them. It doesn't matter what the particular subject matter is, well, it does matter, but the learning outcomes are similar. Indo-Pacific Study is a major and program we only started this year. Some of these guys are doing it for the first ever time. It's a focus on our region. Has all disciplines within it. Historians, political scientists, anthropologists and so on. The purpose is to know about our near neighbours at various levels. From a military perspective, without being too hard-edged, the purpose is to know your battlefield. And international political studies is about power, about international relations, security studies, political philosophy, these types of subjects. You can do a business minor in a BA. You can do a business major too, as long as you take one of my majors as well. Same for geography. Happy to study geography as a minor or a major, but you do need at least one major within the school. Because I'm the guy that has to sign off that you're ready to graduate, right? There are electives too. If someone can explain to me the term prescribed electives, I'd like to see how that works. Kind of compulsory electives. I don't know. That's the term they use. There are subjects here at UNSW Canberra at ADFA that you have no choice but to do. You will do those yellow ones at some point. You will do 2 of the 4 of the green ones at some point. So I guess they're a type of elective, right, if you choose between A and B. Very quickly, this is what it kind of looks like for the 3 years of your BA, right? In your first year, as I've foreshadowed, 4 courses each semester, 24 units of credit. Don't worry about what units of credit are at this point. 4 courses, 3 of which we tell you which to do, 1 you get to choose. That's first year. It's a similar pattern for a typical program over 3 years, always 8 courses a year. There you go. You can choose a major. You don't have to choose it till after first year, by the way. Find out what you like. You can choose a major, which just means lots of subjects within that discipline. You can choose 2 majors if you want to. You can choose a major and a minor. That just means a little bit less in a minor and you've got more free electives. Not something to be super worried about today. Thanks. It's very similar in third year. There it is again, nothing like numbers and tables. That genuinely equates, this will test my maths on the fly, that generally equates on any given week for each subject. We would usually have 2 lectures and a tute, times 4, 8 lectures, 4 tutes as contact hours for a BA. That is not the volume of effort, that's the volume of contact hours. There is an absolute expectation that students are reading and preparing outside of those contact hours. The overall hours in the degree is same as a Bachelor of Engineering. Just that a lot of those hours, students are on their own to do that work. Entry requirements, I've got to put this one up there, yep. The minimum ATAR for a BA to matriculate at University of New South Wales is 75. That's true across the university, not just our BA. Depending on how well potential officer candidates score in their selection panel, there is and other factors that can vary a little bit either way. Assume knowledge English, I think that's a given. But here's the important point here on this slide. And I was talking to someone up the back about this earlier. When I came here from high school, all I'd studied at high school was STEM subjects. Because a million years ago when I was 18, that was the way to get a high TER. I thought anyway. So I came to this place, did a Bachelor of Science in my first year, had to do an art subject, chose history, was good at the STEM stuff, didn't like it, was bad at history, enjoyed it. Then I switched over to a BA. Failed my first essays, end up a professor of history. What does that mean? It means do what you want to do. I don't care if you've never studied an art subject at high school, it's not relevant. You've got every support structure here to succeed if you want to. Don't care what courses you've done, what you haven't done, start again. Just need motivation. And get to this perhaps a little bit of reading endurance too, because reading is becoming more and more difficult for BA students. Thank you. Time at UNSW Canberra, thanks. Okay, these guys are much better equipped to talk about their day-to-day lives at UNSW Canberra. I'm sure they will. We do a couple of extracurricular things in the school. We're just about to send a bunch of cadets off to Indonesia for a little while for a study tour. We'll be doing battlefield tours for the history students later on as well. There is a little bit of that happens. Now, a little bit preemptive of me to mention this because this is not agreed upon yet, it's not signed off yet, but the plan is for the school to offer a second degree in 2027. As you can read, it's a Bachelor of War Studies developed in conjunction with the ADF. It won't be a degree of training, that's what Defence does. It will be a university degree, similar in its learning outcomes to the BA, but focused more on conflict and war studies. Still the same standards, still the same types of courses, just a little bit more of a, to use the catchphrase, industry focus. How's that for one of those words? Relevant to the ADF. Not next year, looking to be put on early in 2027. Could give you heaps of potential details, but not relevant until someone signs a contract, right? But that is something that you could think about if you're planning on coming here from 2027 onwards. All right, absolutely more than enough from me. Thanks so much. Let's throw it open for questions. Please ask questions of my colleagues here as much as like any questions to me. All questions on the table, answer them honestly. The usual question is how much they get paid.
When you joined, did you all do exactly what the lecturer said you do, all maths and science subjects, and then came here did something completely different, or did you all choose any course at school and then come here?
Sorry, just before we answer, for the live stream, do we need to use the mics?
Just go close to...
Yeah, let's go with Kate. Oh, you answer.
So me personally, I did take all the art subjects in high school. That was just my interest, but I can definitely see how that's not a sort of prerequisite to what you need to do here. I'd say the biggest thing that you could do to prepare yourself for this course is to watch the news and just stay in touch with what's going on around you. And by doing that every day, it'll give you an edge at uni in general. That would be my answer.
If I can interject as well, I have a friend who did exclusively STEM subjects and he does great in his arts degree. If you're like a student who feels really comfortable with science but not as much with the humanities, the academic language and learning unit is a really good resource. They provide like invaluable support if you're not really confident with it. Even if you think like you're super all over it, they're still excellent. So keep that in mind.
Personally, I didn't take any of the subjects in high school that I take now. I didn't do geography. My school didn't offer politics, didn't offer Indo-Pacific studies, anything like that. So I came here completely like on a blank slate, and they teach you the foundational knowledge that you need to know. As you said, the academic language and learning unit offers you the help if you want it. You can seek them out, but at the same time, like, I walked into this degree and went, let's learn about, all these subjects, and they teach it to you from day one. So there's not really, like Sir said, the prerequisite knowledge that you need is you can speak English and understand English. That's all you need.
That's not text English, that's actual English, right?
Yeah, like actual, English.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've read that there's also an option to do a cross-institutional study if a student decides that he or she wants to study a language. But is that true?
Yeah, there's limited opportunity, but it does exist. If you, for example, have already studied some languages at a different university or at high school, you can make an application to do a language subject at somewhere like ANU, for example, and it could be counted as one of your BA electives. But that's also for Defence to agree to as well as me. It is a possibility, but it's not hugely widespread.
So yeah, me personally, next year I'll be looking to study French at ANU. And it's just a matter of getting a good grade score average while you're at uni, and then getting that permission from your divisional officer and your military command. And then once that's all approved, you just go over, and that's it.
Yeah, and similar to Josh here, I've also had the opportunity to do a major in French at ANU again, but it comes down to whether it'll take more time out of your day, your regular day here at UNSW and along with your military training on the side. So it comes down to whether you want to spend more time on the side doing, practicing French as an example. Yeah.
Can you just run through what a typical day might look like for you guys?
So you wake up maybe 6 o'clock, 6:30 sort of thing, generally your first timing. For first years, we have PT for an hour and a bit on Mondays and Mondays and Thursdays is when we have PT. That's generally from 8 o'clock to 9:30. From 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock, we'll have what we call joint military education training. So that's anywhere from learning general military skills like how to do defence riding, anything like that. Just like foundational knowledge to our jobs outside of ADFA. And then from 9:30, you have half an hour to get ready for class, which university starts at 10. Depending on our timetables, you might have a class at 10, you might not. None of our timetables are the exact same sort of thing. You can customise them to suit you. Obviously, your lecture times are fixed. But you can choose the tutorial times to suit you. I have anywhere between 1 to 4 hours per day sort of thing. And then outside of that is just study time.
I'm glad you said that, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Reading time, yep.
Yeah, it's like use that time, spare time that you have for studying any other academic or military requirements that you might have, and you're knocked off by 5 at the latest for an arts degree now.
Okay, and where does food fit in there? Like, is there times that you have to be at breakfast or?
So brekkie here generally runs from 5:30 to 7 o'clock in the morning, and then lunch is run from 11:30 till 1, and then dinner's from 5:30 until 7. So it's basically up to you for when you go. It's not like in school where, you know, the recess bell rings and you go to recess sort of thing. It's like, okay, you know, it's 11:30 now. I have class at 12, so I'm gonna run, grab some food from the mess or from Afghans or something like that, and then you're gonna go to class. It's all very much on your own time. You can choose when you want to go and eat, and you can kind of work your timetable around having designated like lunch and dinner breaks and things like that as well.
I was also told by the last helpers in the last presentations that Uber Eats has a special designated point at now. Is that
It
true?
does.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a lie, that's legit.
That's definitely true, yeah.
Yeah. Ben?
Like-
So, I suppose for all of you students, you know, it's a real honour to be here at the Sitcom because it's so competitive to get in here, right? So what's the piece of advice you give my daughter or daughters here? How did you sort of stand out amongst all the other thousands of applicants here? So what life skill attribute that you think you all each individually brought differently as opposed to the other people out here that applied?
Can I caveat this by saying when I first did my military application through DFR, I didn't get any officer roles, let alone ADFA. I didn't unlock them. They said the job opportunities application you did wasn't good enough. You can do enlisted and that's about it. I went through my recruiting process and was just myself. I tried. I, at the basis, just really wanted to get into defence. That's what I wanted to do. And so they kind of see that, they see your drive, and basically they went, look, we actually think you'd be really suitable for an officer role. Did you want to take this path? And I basically said, yeah, sure, did a gap year and came to ADFA that way. So yeah, we've all kind of had different experiences with getting in.
Yeah, I would say dedication would have been the main one for me. So my entire recruitment process, I was living overseas in Ireland, and they could see the kind of effort I was putting in to make those phone calls, you know, at night time, every single night because of time difference. And they saw that throughout the entire process. And the process is long and you've got to stick to it. So it was a year and a half of staying up late, you know, being tired at school. But they saw that and then they were like, yeah, all right, we'll give you a chance.
They like academics and they like sports. That's what they recommended I do more of, sports. I tried out for the soccer team. Very poor performance, did not get in. I'm still here, so just follow your interest, try your best. It's you can get in if you want to.
And I remember during my defence interview, my interviewer he mentioned 2 C's, so competency and character. And I found those were something that I maintained throughout my time. And so competency, you just be able to prove and demonstrate that you can achieve either fitness levels or academic levels, and you will have time to demonstrate that throughout your interviews and time. And then you've got competence, character. So obviously you have time throughout your interviews again to prove that you're confident and you will fit in at ADFA.
Do well at school, be yourself, not someone else.
Yep.
Be confident at the selection boards.
Yeah. Just, dedication and be yourself. Don't try and change. The people in recruiting are trained to see exactly who they want. And like Josh said, they can see the dedication from a mile away. If they think that you have the character, the perseverance to, you know, put in the work, then yeah, you'll have no issues.
War studies, what a little golden nugget that was. What can you tell us about that?
I can't. I'd love to. I'd love to, because it's not a thing yet. It's a potentiality.
Do you get spare time, sort of in school holidays, or do you get time to travel and sort of grow up as well as, you know,
Travel is huge. Like everyone that I know travels during leave. The only thing is that sometimes you'll have periods of training. So Army have a lot of training to do in their leave periods.
Navy, not so much.
Yeah, RAV also not so much. The services have sort of looked into ADFA and said that they want more training done in those leave periods, but you have time to like rest, recover, replenish, and plenty of time to mature. Yeah, people go, our officer in command of our squadron recently showed us all the different places people went over leave, every continent, like 33 different countries. So yeah, you can see the world.
And that military training doesn't take up the whole leave period, so you'll still have a good chunk, usually about half of that of your leave period to you. Thanks.
They're large leave breaks, and like travel within ADFA is like, it should be one of our values. It's what everyone does. We get paid enough to just go and travel and see the world and everything. So when we're not doing additional training to learn what our service and what our job is like, people are overseas and they're seeing the world and growing up, and
Couple of free trips home a year as well.
yeah, we get 3 government-funded travel visits home as well per year. So
Up the back, yep.
Okay, I know the reason for Army is a little bit different, so you won't get to decide until you get to one country. But you guys, so Navy and Air Force, how are you hoping to use your degrees after ADFA?
I'm going into intelligence when I finish my degree. So a lot of those, humanities skills, reading, research, like synthesis, analysis, all of that is what intelligence is all about: collating reports, giving briefs to like higher ups. So yeah, all those humanities language skills being used there.
So you're second year?
Yes.
Yeah, so what are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in history and English, which is no longer available as a major. But but that being said, it wouldn't matter if I was going to be like pilot. I wouldn't need to be studying anything specific, like Craig said. So yeah, you can use this anywhere. Like,
Do what makes you happy. Don't worry about the job.
Yeah, and I'll copy his answer. I'm an intelligence officer as well. So yeah, the biggest one for me would be Indo-Pac, because that really is that is the battlefield. That is where you work. That is your bread and butter. And doing this degree, I know that's going to make me way more confident in that area. So I'll be able to brief to my sailors, and I'll actually know what I'm talking about when I'm giving specific, lessons on the area itself. So I think that's very valuable to the job.
I've joined as a surface warfare officer. Doing an arts degree for me has taken more of a in the future sort of note. It doesn't really, like Sir said earlier, I could have joined the ADF and gone direct entry. I don't need a degree for my job at all. What the purpose of this degree for me is to set me up for future promotions into command roles where I need to have good political knowledge, have good knowledge of the area around me, the spaces that we operate in. It's a foundation for future degrees. The ADF is really big on making sure their people are well educated. So, this sets me up to continue on to get a master's down the line sort of thing. So yeah, it's more for me in the future, making sure that I'm set up well for more command type positions.
and jumping off that slightly, at the risk of drawing this out a bit too much, this degree has so much meaning and relevance for things completely beyond defence. It's fun and rewarding and development right now, and I have interests in being a professor in the field of English later in my life, so it this is a degree for living as well. Yeah.
Ma'am?
Sorry for another question. So I've noticed that this degree is 2 semesters, whereas others are trimesters, is that right?
No. Mostly the BA is delivered over the typical 2 semesters of the year. There is a summer semester here too. There are offerings that you can take over summer, particularly some of those prescribed electives. You can often do one of those over summer. And some of the other degrees that are a little more crowded in face-to-face time will make use of summer. But predominantly we deliver in the 2 normal academic blocks of 2 by 13 weeks.
And if you don't do a summer subject, are you free then to go and travel and do stuff?
Yep.
Right.
So don't fail one, so you have to do it in summer, right?
Yeah.
I've got 2 questions. My first one is, why did you pick your service? And the second one is, if I want to do personnel management, would it be a good idea to do a Bachelor of Arts so that I can do a minor in business because I don't like finance?
Don't tie your degree to your job. Do what you want to do, is my advice to you.
That's probably the best thing.
Yeah.
And
I'll go first. So, I chose to go to the army. Both my parents are in the army, so I've already had that sort of background into what it's like, what it'll be like in the future. So obviously my parents have both been away on postings and things like that throughout their lives, and I've been influenced by that in a way. And so I've also always been a very outdoorsy person, so I like getting outdoors, and obviously the army is, the service if you want to go outdoors into the bush and stuff like that. So that would be the reason why I would join. I did join. Yeah.
I'd say whichever service you choose is it's a personal thing, and it will vary person to person. So there's no one right service. It's really just whatever your interests are. So if you're that outdoorsy person, army, I'm not that outdoorsy person. I didn't want to spend lots of time at sea, just wasn't really my interest. So that's why I chose RAF. But and always just tied to your interests.
Yeah, so I chose Navy basically because I love the sea. I spent my entire life on the coast, so I was like, yeah, this is a good job. I get to spend time on boats. I will be honest, I'm actually transferring services, so I'm transferring to the army because I want to get a bit more hands-on and go out in the bush more.
See?
Yeah.
I joined the army. Oh my God, guys.
You should.
No, not at all. I think the Navy is the superior service. Genuinely. I joined because I wanted to be in a warfighting role, to be honest. I wanted to be in a role where I can work with a group of people in a really professional team, and just, fight a ship, I don't know, I think it's just, a great service. You get to travel around the world. You have the best postings out of all 3 services because they're always on the water. And you basically get paid to go on free cruises with all of your buddies. And I have to say, don't let being seasick get in the way of getting in the Navy, because I get violently seasick at sea, and so does everyone else who works on a ship, and that is so okay.
Paid infomercial.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I should have to change your degrees.
Yes, you can, with caveats. All right, you still want to graduate within 3 years. So it is very difficult to change the degree after first year. Yes, it's possible, but that's a university administrative credit point count, can we make it work type thing. And it's a defence decision as well.
Did all of you come straight out of school into ADFA, or if you did take a gap year, was it a defence gap year or was it outside?
I went straight in here from school, so I didn't take a gap year. If I look back on it, maybe taking a gap year would have been a good option. I've got friends who have taken the ADF gap year option, and I've heard that has been a really good option for them. So, but from my experience, I've gone straight from school.
I also went straight from school, but it varies hugely. So there'll be people who've done regular gap years, defence gap years. Some people have done a few years of civilian university and then come over. So whichever one is right for you.
Yeah, I did a bit of a gap year. So while I was living in Europe and going through that process, I basically took like 6 months off school when I finished, and I just travelled Europe, and that gave me like a lot of knowledge and stuff that I can utilise at ADFA. So for me, I think that was a good option.
I joined 6 months out of school and I did a Navy gap year. I highly recommend it purely because it's 12 months, no more commitment. You're getting paid, and it's a really good way to kind of grow up a little bit before, even though ADFA's also for growing up, it's like you get to see the world a little bit and live independently. I got to go to sea 3 times during my gap year, and those sea opportunities are fantastic. I know people who were sent on like 6-month deployments during their gap year. I did a few sea rides. I got to meet so many people, and it kind of just set me up for my transition into ADFA in knowing what to expect, knowing how to conduct myself. And I know like I have something to look forward to now. I know what to expect when I leave here as well, which is like good motivation.
And just to add on to that, did you come in like a mid-year intake, or did you start at the beginning of the year?
So I started at the beginning of the year, but because of the kind of European school system, it ends in like June, so the 6 months, and then started Navy in January.
It's usually almost exclusively start at the beginning of the year
Yep.
here.
I started in July of 2023, and I saw like there's very little difference between whether you start at the start or the middle of the year. The only change it made for me was I started in the middle of the year, did NEOC, did my gap year, and then started doing my initial employment training before coming to ADFA in the spare 6 months that I had.
So the academics usually start.
Yeah, because ADFA starts in January.
How did you feel about the years of commitment that you have to make?
It's pretty scary, yeah, so it is scary, but you've also got to think it's that level of job security. Like there's not many other jobs in the country that can offer you, you've got a 9-year contract where you're going to get paid X amount. You're probably going to be posted here, here, and here. So I think it's a pretty good option, and you just got to kind of see it as that. I would also recommend doing the gap year first before anything to make sure you actually do like it, and then it's easier to leave if you get a little bit too scared of that commitment.
No hex either.
No hex. Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, is what I say. I have an 8-year contract. 3 of those years is here. Then the next 2 years is in more training. And then I have 3 or so years actually out driving the boats, doing my job. So when you think of it that way, I see it as a short amount of time in the grand scheme of things. But I've already been in for 2 years and it feels like I joined just yesterday. So.
Get down the front.
To those of you joining the army or choosing to move to the army, what roles did you consider before deciding on one?
Yeah, so I considered pretty much all of them. They're all really interesting. Every single corps has its own sort of advantages. I was kind of always gunning for intelligence, and I'm also a bit colourblind, so it kind of stopped me from going aviation, so I couldn't consider that. So I was like, intelligence, and then any of the combat corps to me, they all seem cool, and I'd be happy with any of them.
And for me, from when I went in, I envisioned going into infantry, and that's still not off the cards at the moment, but I've been looking into transport as well because I love the idea of driving cool things.
Any more questions? Yeah.
Did any of you guys have to move interstate? And I understand you said Wales is technically interstate, but did anyone have to move further?
When I joined, I moved from the Northern Territory to Sydney, and it was my first ever time leaving home. So it was a big move for me. But I think once you get over the homesickness and you make so many friends, even if it's just by forced proximity, you make so many close friends. Everyone gets around you. Loads of people like it. Some of my closest mates are from Western Australia. And again, their first time leaving home was to join the Navy in Sydney, sort of thing. So
I moved from Ireland, so I left my entire family, moved countries, had no mates here, and for 2 years I've been in defence. I've made the best mates I've made in my entire life, so best decision ever.
Okay, I'm like the polar opposite. I grew up my entire life 20 minutes down the road, so I can't really speak to that, unfortunately.
Same from me. I'm also about 15 minutes down the road, so it's been pretty crazy for me too.
It's safe to say most TOs come from interstate.
Yeah.
Was there a message?
Lots of Tasmanians too, for some reason.
It's weird.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the honours year. What are the benefits of an honours year, and what specifically in terms of the research, like what kind of research can you do for an honours year?
Yeah, okay. So there's honours is an option in the BA, as is for the other degrees as well. You need to have scored, have a WAM that supports your entry into honours, but then it's a defence question too. So whilst we will qualify you for an honours year, people do come back and do honours, undergrads, but it's dependent upon service needs and available spots. Sometimes we might get half a dozen honours students back in my school. We might have 12, we might have 2. It's a negotiation between the career managers and yourself post-Untroon or post-ADFA for a few other services. So we definitely qualify you for it if you do well enough. Your ability to come back is shaped by defence. What does it set you up to do? Honours degree, depending on the class of honours, sets you up to do a PhD or whatever type of study after that.
Are there any opportunities for mature age students?
Yeah, there are. They exist at the moment. They always have. There's no. I don't think there is an age requirement, I think, but it's quite old. It's a defence recruiting question.
Yeah.
We do have a separate squadron here as well, called Omega, and that's basically for like mature age students, but also people who are going from enlisted ranks to officer ranks that already have that life experience but are looking to get a degree sort of thing. So it's generally a conversation between DFR, the university, to see if you qualify for that as well. So it's a couple extra steps.
Well, from my point of view, from the university point of view, there's no age requirements. Just a recruiting thing.
One more question, sorry. Josh from Ireland.
Island Josh.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm hearing a lot of positives about it. It's like it's amazing.
Yeah.
But surely there are some things that areas of improvement here. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think? You're laughing.
Oh, I've got a couple. Yeah. No.
Two main
Two?
things that you think we could improve, ADFA needs to improve on.
Okay, so my biggest issue is that in first year you are basically forced to pay for the mess. So you're forced to eat at the mess, therefore.
It sounds like a first world problem
Oh,
to me, Josh.
well,
Given you get a salary, but yeah.
yeah, so sometimes the food is pretty good, but sometimes it's really not. And you kind of want to, sometimes I want to meal prep, or some people have high protein needs because they're on some sort of a selection course for something they want to get, and they don't get that from the mess, so they have to spend additional money trying to source a different diet. And that is a little bit of an issue, but once you get into second and third year, that is totally cut away. And obviously, it's a minor issue. Generally, it's all right. So that would be probably my biggest issue. Does anyone else have another one? Or
No, I'd just say that's where the Uber Eats comes in.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think most of our biggest issues in the grand scheme of things are quite minor issues.
Yeah.
Like Josh said, while the food at the mess sometimes is a bit dodgy or you're not meeting those heavy protein requirements or whatever, there's other ways around it. You're not forced to, pay for these meals for your full 3 years or anything like that. All in all, the university and studying here and living here is fine. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
This might be our last one, but I'll stay around after, and so will my colleagues if anyone wants to come down.
Well, so initially you said the first question normally is what do you get paid? Because what do you get paid? And what are you paying for on top of that? You're paying for the mess, and then do you pay your accommodation as well? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So it's broken down and generally varies depending on your posting location and their requirements. So here we pay living in meals, living in accommodation, and living in utilities. We pay about $95 a fortnight for living in utilities, Living in accommodation, I think, is maybe $100 or so a fortnight, and then living in meals is $200 odd a fortnight. And then everyone's salaries vary depending on them and their roles.
The question is it plenty of spending money? The answer is yes.
Yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Been a pleasure. Sorry, one left.
The question to guys who are from Canberra. Do you need to live on just in general accommodation here, or you can stay home?
Got to live on base.
Yeah.
Got to come here.
Until your second year, you don't have the option to live off base. You have the time in the afternoons until you have to be back, which is midnight for us. So you have that time where you can go back home, catch up with family, whatever. But until your second year, you're required to stay on base until that 12 a.m. Curfew.
I see my family all the time. I go back like every weekend. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. We're still down the front if you need us. Nice to see you all.